worked great for us because they would say, well, it could be this or it could be that. They would help us present both sides. And what was most important to me was getting John's friends. And they were wonderful. And I feel, as many people do, that John gets lost in all the noise around this case. And one of the things we tried to do is...
She was fucking drowning, and then she switched it to John's friends. Like, when all else fails, let's make it about the victim, and let's get off of this, because... Yeah. Microdot was like, nope. I'm not fucking selling you that shit. Fuck off. Get out of here, lady. Fuck out of here, lady.
Is try and keep him as a presence as much as we could, because there was a lot of content to cover in terms of the trial, but just have the viewers not forget that there's a wonderful man who's dead in some mysterious way. And let's not lose sight of Joe. A lot of people do that John gets lost in, and it could be this or it could be. The reporters worked great for us because they would say, well, it could be this or it could be that. They would help us present both sides. And what was most important to me was getting John's friends.
There it is.
And they were wonderful. And
I'm drowning.
Feel, as many people do, that John gets lost.
That's what happened right there. I'm drowning. Like, you're confronting me with the fact that I had these fucking idiots on this documentary and let them fucking ruin it. Because I'm telling you right now, if they're featured as much as they are on there, they fucking ruined it. And why? Out of spite? Is that why this lady? I mean, this lady's a clown.
Lost in all the noise around this case. And one of the things we tried to do is
That's not true. John O'Keefe has not been lost in all this noise. I mean...
That's what they love to say about us.
We talk just as much about John's movements and behavior leading up to and all of that. We talk about the case. What, like, you expect us to do what? Just sit there and celebrate his life and start showing home movies of him with kids' T-Rex arms? And no, I mean, that's fluff. That's not getting anywhere. Like, we've done it, and that's okay. And if I was making a documentary, I would absolutely have plenty of that in there. But when I'm talking about the case, I'm going over the facts of the case. And the facts of John O'Keefe are not left out. The relevant facts of John O'Keefe, which are indicative to the events of that evening, are not left out. They're discussed. And he's never in any way disrespected. And I'm not going to apologize for pointing out the fact that he was very cold towards Karen throughout those text messages during the day. I mean, when I think about it, he was kind of being a dick. But that's relevant to the case. It's relevant to understanding all of this. And I'm not going to ignore that simply because you think it might be disrespectful to the victim. No. You know,
I guess you didn't get the memo about the 24-hour standout for John on the anniversary.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, of course not.
Keep him as a presence as much as we could, because there was a lot of content to cover in terms of the trial, but just have the viewers not forget that there's a wonderful man who's dead in some mysterious way. And let's not lose sight of John. So that was really important. His friends were wonderful, Brendan and John and Tara. So that was really important.
Brendan Kane, actually, I've seen him in a bunch of different documentaries, and I said this one, it really, he cried, and I hadn't seen any of John's friends actually really break down, and that was such a special moment, and just hearing him talk about how, you know, he thought about John's death, and it just gave him comfort almost to know that maybe he went peacefully. I had never heard that before, and again, it just made you remember that a great man is dead, a police officer is dead in a very mysterious way, and we need to remember that he was a human and he had family and friends, and how devastating it is.
Everyone here fucking does. Everyone here does. But
really, Will? Because all I've heard you do is victim blame and tell us in one sentence that he's never been disrespected and then call him a dick. Nathan Reed on the courthouse steps yelling at Paul O'Keefe. Pinks standing around screaming obscenities at John's family as they're trying to get in the courthouse. That is FKR. You all are sick. Karen Reed is guilty, and all of you all are guilty for knowing that she's guilty. And if you think Hank Brennan doesn't know this, then you are further behind than I gave you credit for.
Forgive us if we can't figure out why none of them actually seem to want to get to the truth. That's what's really interesting to me. Sorry, I'm not going to...
Again, this is the shit that pisses me off. Have you ever spoke to anybody in the O'Keefe family? No, you haven't. You've probably yelled obscenities at them and laughed at them and made jokes about them because that's the kind of creature that you are. You think that his family is just going to take somebody's word for it? You think that his family isn't going to dig and get to the truth? Why do you think they were building timelines that day? Why do you think they did all become close? You all accuse them of being close. The Alberts and the McCabe's and the O'Keefes. Why were they powwowing and figuring things out? Why were they doing that? Because they were trying to figure out what happened to their loved one. And now they are close because this horrific thing happened to them, to their family, to their loved one. Not to Karen. Karen did it. And y'all are raising money and buying her a year at a hotel and a new wardrobe and limos and steak dinners. And you have bamboozled so many innocent people into believing what you are selling. They are going to be devastated when they find out how much you have lied to them. You're abhorrent creatures, and karma is coming for you.
Well, I know I'm contradicting myself there, but I'm not going to apologize for that either. I mean, that is a fair observation. I don't give a shit what you say. You have all of this stuff that's in your face, and it's like they want to ignore it.
This is gaslighting 101. Yes, well, it is in our face. It is so blatantly obvious that this bitch murdered John O'Keefe. That's what's in our face. And it's in your face, too. But you know what? You already know that she's guilty. And you're in some kind of backroom deal with all your disgusting little creators with Turtle Boy and Melanie Little and Brian and Mike Crawford, who I know you don't like, but you know, this was all, you're all working together. This is what they actually call it, conspiracy and collusion and RICO charges and all the money laundering that's gone on. Y'all could do some federal time, all of you pieces of shit. So no, don't apologize because you wouldn't mean it if you did. This is you, Will. This is who you are. And then you come on and say, I'm so grateful for this loving community. I love you all so much. Like, you don't understand the meaning of those words. You pretend to be human. You have no soul for what you have done to this family.
And I'm sorry. You know, I pity them for their loss, most definitely, because John seemed to have been a really great guy, for sure. But I'm not going to apologize for seeing something for what it is and being outspoken about it, whether you are or not.
Right.
Just an FYI, if anybody cares, these assholes know that Karen is guilty. If you are giving them your money, you are giving your money to criminals. Will is a criminal. all of these people that are pro Karen Read are criminals. They literally want her to get away with murder. That's what you're supporting. Your choice. This is a public service announcement. Please make better choices. Please ask questions. Please don't listen to them when they say things like, if you can't see this, then you have no common sense. Anybody with any kind of common sense can see she's being framed. They try to make you feel like you're a dumbass if you don't believe the ludicrous story that they're trying to sell you. Ask them the entire theory. If she's so innocent and she's been framed, they've had 3 years to piece together one coherent theory. Ask any of your creators out there. Ask Melanie, ask Brandy, ask Will, ask Mike, ask Brian, ask Broken Baker, ask Valhalla, ask Video Jesus, ask I don't know. There's so many of them, I can't keep track of them all. Ask them. And say, I don't want to hear that it's on the prosecution. I want to hear your theory. You're selling me for 3 years that she's factually innocent. If she's not, be honest. If she is, I want to hear one theory that brings me from point A to point Z that's cogent and coherent. I guarantee you, you will not get one because it's impossible. And Hank Brennan is going to bring all of this shit to a burning, crispy critter. So I hope it was worth it, y'all. Meanwhile, John's loved ones are going to get justice. And we're all here for it. To the O'Keefes, to the McCabe's, to the Alberts, to the Proctors, to the Roberts. You have so much love and support from so many people. We don't know you, but we know you, and we love you, and we stand with you. And if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. I will do anything I possibly can. And I know there are a ton of people. You have a ton of angels working here for you. And I know I don't have to tell you this, but Hank Brennan, your son, Peggy and John, is working through Hank Brennan. I'm sure that you know that, but I see it every day. I think Hank is going to even have a bigger purpose in all of this. I truly believe that what he is doing is a masterclass in how to expose innocent fraud campaigns. And I hope that people take notice. And I really hope that Hank can maybe do some kind of documenting. Like, I wish he had somebody there doing some kind of documentation, like Terry Muir from Unsolved Mysteries, or anybody that's available to document, sit down, interview him. Roberta Glass would be a perfect person to get this information out there once this is over. You got your hands full, but I'm just saying this is John working through Hank to bring a bigger, like he's LEO through and through, right? He's John, I mean, none of us, there's so many of us that don't know him, but we know him. And his heart is so pure. And he's a police officer. And he is still a police officer in spirit. And he is helping Hank expose all of this so that this kind of fraud on the American justice system cannot happen anymore. It's despicable, and it's been happening far too often. This is the most first-time, real-time fraud that I've watched, with the exception of Amanda Knox, but that was slightly different because her folks were from America and she lived in Italy, but this is the first before trial, present trial, innocence fraud campaign, and it has brainwashed so many people, and it is dangerous, not only for justice, but for all of these people, I can't even imagine how many lives have been negatively affected by this. I mean, all the way to different countries where people left their jobs. They donated so much money because they truly believed in her innocence, because these people sold them a story that they knew was false to try to get a murderer off of murder charges. She's psychopathic. She's histrionic. She certainly has borderline personality traits. I'm not a psychiatrist, but these traits are very apparent in her. She's dangerous. Justice is coming. Please listen to people when they tell you who they are. They're not going to apologize for victim blaming. They're not going to apologize for putting his murderer above the victim. That's who they are, and they will go to any lengths. Spread love and light in the world, y'all. Mwah. Love you.